Although its superficial components are dated, The Ghost in the Darkness broke new ground in territory which continues to feel fresh after 25 years.
Canada be damned. I'm going to the Klondike.
The Klondike is Canada.
Giorgio, you be doing just fine, brother.
When it comes to monster movies, two key elements seem to have extraordinary significance. The first being the creature, or creatures, and the second is the atypical setting. The Ghost in the Darkness doesn't deal with fictitious monsters, but the supercharged lions we're given are an acceptable compromise. The story of The Ghost in the Darkness is that of our hero, Colonel John Henry Patterson, played by Val Kilmer. Hired to engineer a railway bridge, he quickly finds himself charged with a more pressing mission: to find and kill two lions who continue to terrorize the job site. These lions, as I said before, are no ordinary lions. And in case you didn't know that already, the film makes sure you know.
Lions don't do this. Lions never had a lair like this. They're doing it for the pleasure.
There are over 40 dead.
40? That's amazing.
There's a few things you should know about these lions.
They're not lions. They are the ghost and the darkness.
These lions are not like lions.
The ghost and the darkness have come.
They're not genetically engineered or altered in some modern sci-fi way. Being set in 1898, this sort of thing wouldn't make any sense. Instead, they're simply hyper-violent killers with above-average bloodthirst. This would be enough for just about anyone, yet the film aims to compound that fear by not only giving our outsider lead that fear, but also the locals. And I specify outsider because Patterson being an outsider is a big part of The Ghost in the Darkness. For starters, when Patterson arrives on the scene, he's faced with a workforce fairly underway. Plagued with problems outside of lines, there's a lack of confidence in this newcomer's abilities, simply because he's an outsider. Although Patterson gives reason to receive confidence after his first night, his outsider status is something which continues to be brought up.
Dr. Hawthorne.
Oh, yes. I almost forgot. You seem to have brought bad luck with you.
I will kill the lion and I will build the bridge.
Of course you will. You're white, you can do anything.
It would be a mistake not to work together on this thing, Abdullah.
The second reason I specify outsider is that the film assumes the audience is Western. This should come as no surprise, being a Western-produced film, with Western cast and crew. This common vehicle of having a Westerner in a far-off land opens itself to foreign wonderment, but also gives the filmmakers an easy way to spout off exposition. In the year following both Batman Forever and Heat, Val Kilmer being in a movie like The Ghost in the Darkness is quite the surprise, not because of the film's premise, but because of the character. Although Val Kilmer does a great job of portraying Colonel Patterson, there's not much about the character in this script that I find intriguing. Being more of the straight man compared to some of Kilmer's other roles, there's a lack of Val Kilmer eccentricities we've come to love. Still, for what the character is, Kilmer does have the presence of a leading man, who we naturally can get behind. And we can get behind him because he has the drive without the ego.
Now, I'm gonna help you by killing the lions and then leaving. And you're gonna help me by doing what I say so I can't leave. You see a problem with that?
Actually, no. My wife is having our firstborn in 6 months, and I promised her I'd be there for the birth. And I always keep my word.
Very moving, Colonel Patterson. I'm touched. You
You confided in me, but I really don't give a shit about your upcoming litter.
To compensate for those lost eccentricities is Michael Douglas. He, too, is an outsider, but in a different way. Hired on to accompany Patterson, Douglas's character, Remington, arrives relatively late in the film. Much like Quint in Jaws, Remington is our resident hunter. Straight from the get-go, we understand that Douglas is going to be big with this character. He's a serious character with a serious purpose, and he's not going to get caught up in any other bullshit.
You listen while I talk, because you got a question that needs answering. Will I pull this trigger?
But I don't want to answer you, because when you question me, you are saying to me that I don't know what I'm doing. Now, anybody here think I'm a fool, then please speak up right now.
Douglas doesn't seem to go full Nicolas Cage with his depiction. What Douglas gives us is his trademark slow roll. What I mean by that is his patient and ominous deliveries, which brings an experienced gravitas to everything he says.
They got an expression, prize fighting. Everybody's got a plan until they've been hit. Well, my friend, you just been hit. You're getting up. That's up to you.
The devil has come to Savo.
Oh, you're right. The devil has come to Savo. Look at me. I am the devil.
The look of The Ghost in the Darkness is not particularly special, yet it is ahead of its time by a handful of years with its edit. It seems after The Bourne Identity, many action or thriller movies adopted the tight shots with quick editing. The Ghost in the Darkness also does this. However, instead of covering up the stuntman or the lack of fight choreography, the filmmakers use it here to substitute for the lack of real lion use. And I get it. These are real, live creatures. They have a limited window to film and can't always do what you wish on screen. For these reasons, the technique feels more like a last resort than an easy cop-out. The rest of the look of The Ghost in the Darkness is fairly basic. For example, the color palette is heavy in earth tones. This should come as no surprise because the wardrobe is 19th century, which was never really big on color, and much of The Ghost in the Darkness is shot outside, with natural earth tones. Speaking of exteriors, I feel there's something lacking in The Ghost in the Darkness. Perhaps it's simply a matter of taste, but there's a desire on my part for a larger scope. The story and plot keep this film contained primarily in one location, and it's usually the case with films set in one location, to get creative with how you shoot around the set, especially in a setting such as Kenya. You'd hope there would be more sweeping vistas, or something similar to capture Africa as a character itself. Now, I don't want to give you the wrong impression. I do like The Ghost in the Darkness, and there's plenty to like here. For example, one of the strong suits is its growing build of the stakes with the plot. In the early stages of the film, there's an attitude among some that this is a minor nuisance, and by the third act, the few remaining characters have done a 180. This, coupled with a few surprises in the plot, keep The Ghost in the Darkness fresh. Another plus for The Ghost in the Darkness is the late, great Jerry Goldsmith's score. Like many of the greatest composers of today, Goldsmith falls back on some of his keynote attributes, yet he creates a fusion with an African flair. This duality makes the feeling of The Ghost in the Darkness both ethnic and grandiose, and it is one of the strongest elements of the film. We can only speculate why The Ghost in the Darkness isn't brought up more. Perhaps you could say that it's too niche, or looking back from the 2020s, it feels dated. And although there may be some validity in that, there's enough in The Ghost in the Darkness to still be enjoyable today. The things it does well are worth seeing, and most everything else merely feels dated through a 2021 lens. But I ask you, how many movies don't feel dated a quarter of a century later? Not many. And if you keep that in mind while watching it, you'll find the light in the darkness.